Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the Fantasy Football Podcast. It is me, Joe Pisapia. It's week 9 in the NFL. You know what that means. It's time to hit the waiver wire with my two best friends, DBro, Derek Brown, the king of bros, and my patty cakes, Pat Fitzmaurice. We're going to get to the players you need on your roster here, and we're not quite in stuffing and cuffing season, but I don't know, Pat. It feels like it might be time to start looking ahead. I know it's not even Halloween yet. Usually this is more of a November theme for Pat Fitzmaurice, who loves the cuffing and stuff and can't get enough of it. But Pat, it feels like maybe this year we should be better served if we start a little bit sooner. Maybe those decorations should come out of the box now. What do you think?
We're going to talk about some of those potential handcuffs today, Joe. And yeah, I do think maybe we beat the stuffing season on some of those cuffs this year by a few weeks. Generally, I don't think that's a good idea, but maybe late October isn't the worst time to handcuff this year.
DBro, I was kicking back, lit a fire outside. It was a beautiful fall day. Had the games outside, little red zone. And I was drinking an Uncle Arnie's, not a sponsor of the show. Not yet. We're trying.
No, not yet.
But I at some point, I kind of like turned around and the Jets won a football game. Did that happen? Or was I just in a really like chill zen place?
Well, I mean, technically they were playing a junior high defense in the Cincinnati Bengals, so let's give a little bit of a pass.
Well, they were playing with a junior high offense, I think. So
that's absolutely fair. And I want to push back on this. Look, I went to Lowe's yesterday, and we already have, it's not even Halloween, boys, and we already got Christmas decorations out. I believe it's full-blown stuffing and cuffing season, honestly.
I think it is. And, like, we all know, like, once you get mid-October, all the Christmas stuff is out, you know? Yeah. I'm fine with it. I'm a Christmas guy. Some people hate that.
I am.
Not me.
It's
November 1st.
It's a little early, dude.
Let's go. No. And you know what? I see a lot of my neighbors putting the lights on outside, too. That's really smart because now's the time to do it before it gets too damn cold to do it. You're out there, you're freezing the guyons off, and you're trying to hang these lights all over the place outside. This is not like Arizona. You know what I mean? It's one of the places. It's Jersey. It gets cold out here. Anyway, it's going to get a little warmer for one of our friends here because the giveaway is gone away. That's right. Every single week we have a fun giveaway here from our good pals over at Trophy Smack. So we know the last couple weeks it's been a challenge with some of the names that I've been giving, but I feel like I've been heard. So Brad Weber, congratulations. You're the winner of the Fantasy Football Championship Trophy giveaway. Brad Weber. That's easy to say. There you go.
It's too easy.
It didn't have 5,000 numbers in it or something that I can't, understand. Is it one word? Is it 12 words? I don't know. But Brad Weber, that's an easy one. Brad, go hit us up at mailbag@fantasypros.com with your mailing address. Screenshot of your YouTube account, and of course we'll confirm once we get you all that information here all set up. We will confirm and get that prize shipped out to you right away. So congratulations, Brad Weber. You're the winner of the Trophy Smack Fantasy Football Championship Trophy giveaway. And when one giveaway leaves, another one takes its place. This week, the last place punishment trophy is back. The Football Loser Toilet Seat. Oh, yeah, let's go. Courtesy of our good pals at Trophy Smack, the #1 destination for epic fantasy football hardware. This is your moment, everybody. A golden toilet seat, hilarious Football Loser toilet seat. You could just, send it to your friends, or just put it in your own house. It's kind of funny. Like if you're the loser of your league, just to kind of have that. I'm sure your significant other will absolutely love it. And of course, we want to give this to you. So to enter right now, this might be the best of the giveaways. I'll be honest with you. All you need to do is subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel, like this video, drop your comments below, ring the bell till it goes ding. That's it. That's all you got to do. And again, next week, we'll be announcing the winner right here on the channel. All right, let's get to the real reason we're here, which is to add players here to the waiver wire for our leagues. And unfortunately, we have to start off on a sad note here because Cam Skattebo is out for the year. It's just a bummer. I mean, why can't fantasy football be fun this year? Or at least more fun? Cam Skattebo was fun. I really enjoyed Cam Skattebo. You could tell Cam Skattebo is fun and great because even the Eagles fans stood up and gave the slow clap for him. It wasn't like Michael Irvin's hurt, we're jerks, we're cheering. No. The Eagles fans respect Cam Skattebo. It was a beautiful moment in the link. Shout out to the Eagles fans. Classy move by them. They were touched by the Cam Skattebo injury. And also, now Tyrone Tracy is touched by it as well. So let's talk about Tyrone Tracy. 35% rostered. DBro, it's the volume game when it comes to Tyrone Tracy. Yep. I think we know what he is. He's a RB2-ish kind of guy. He's not going to set the world on fire. He's got some fumble issues, but the volume's going to be there. Singletary might get some work as well, but it's Tyrone Tracy's backfield for the rest of season. But he ain't a Cam Skattebo replacement, not in my heart and not on my fantasy team. But the volume's there, and as you like to say, volume can be king sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at Tracy. I mean, just Go back to last year. He's a plug-and-play RB2, and the schedule upcoming isn't fantastic. Like, over the next few weeks, he gets the 49ers, the Bears you can run on, but then he gets the Packers, the Lions, the Patriots. Woof. Then they got to bye. Like, I will say after that, it does open up because he gets the Commanders, Vikings, and the Raiders, so you can run on those teams, but it's the volume play. Yeah, so like if you got him stashed, if he's out there on the waiver wire, pick him up. He is a plug-and-play RB2. If you're in deeper formats, pick up Devin Singletary. That's fine if you want to play that game. But I think Tracy, we know who he is, and that's totally fine, man. Plug-and-play RB2. Probably top 20 back rest of season.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like somewhere around there. Yeah. Fitzy yesterday, I should say, not last Sunday. Well, I guess it was last Sunday, technically. 10 for 39 for Tracy when he stepped in there, averaging 3.9 yards per carry. We know what Tracy is. I mean, DBro kind of laid it out there. He's going to be useful for you. Bye weeks coming up here. Obviously, we've got Cleveland out, the Eagles out, the Jets out, the Buccaneers out. So no Rashad White, no Bucky Irving still, obviously. You have no Breece Hall, you have no Saquon, and you have no Judkins. So automatically there, Bigsby looks like a plug-and-play RB2 right away for me. How about you?
Tracy, yeah. So
I'm sorry, I said Bigsby.
Getting ahead of yourself, Joe.
I was getting ahead of. So slow down, everybody. We'll get to Saquon Barkley's groin in just a bit. Just slow your roll. Don't worry. All right, go ahead, Fad. Talk to me about Tracy.
Yeah. So the nice thing is, even in some of those tough run game matchups that DBro outlined against teams like the Packers, Lions, and Patriots, Tracy has multiple outs to get you a usable fantasy total in any given week because he catches passes. He's a former college wide receiver. So very capable in that regard. And the Giants are so short on firepower at wide receiver that they have little choice but to lean heavily on their running backs. Now, Cam Skattebo had averaged 22 touches a game in the 4 games leading up to Sunday's game against the Eagles. So Tracy's absolutely going to have a big role. Singletary, yes, maybe an interesting add in deeper leagues because Singletary is pretty familiar with Brian Daboll's system. Singletary played for Daboll in Buffalo when Daboll was the OC there, so maybe Singletary does take on a little bit of a supporting role here. But yeah, we have evidence that Tracy can be a useful fantasy asset. He was the Giants' lead back for much of 2024 and had 1,100 yards from scrimmage, 6 touchdowns. He's worth a big spend. And in this week's waiver article, we listed $35 as a true value bid for Tracy and $45 as the must-have bid. It's starting to get late in the season, Joe, and the people who still have a lot of FAAB money might just decide that this is how they want to spend it.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I can understand the aggression on the bid there because it is kind of locked in there. And I think we know what Devin Singletary is, obviously, at this point in his career, too. So I think it's more of a, 70-30 kind of split in that backfield, maybe? That
Probably.
seems about right.
Yeah,
so it's a more imminent value to your fantasy teams. There's no doubt about that. And I think what's also interesting is people are going crazy bidding for him. Some of the other running backs that might be floating around, too, that could also be guys that you want to stash, which we're going to talk about right now. We're going to talk about some of those players too. And one that I want to start with here at the running back position is Tyjae Spears. 46% rostered. If you held my, feet to the fire, I would have said for sure it was higher than that on Sleeper. I would have thought it was in the 60s for sure. So this was kind of surprising. Now, I don't know if that was a byproduct of the last couple of weeks of all the injuries, people having to drop people, maybe, the bye weeks, people needing some streamers, but it felt like with last week's bye week, you should absolutely have been adding a guy like Spears. And what was interesting yesterday is Spears had 9 carries, Pollard had 11, 59 yards for Spears, 44 for Pollard, 1 touchdown for Spears. And then Spears also had 3 catches for 23. So he's been working more in the passing game than Pollard was. If you add up all those yards still, it's still less than Jonathan Taylor in that same game, just for S's and G's, which Jonathan Taylor, just unbelievable. Can we just say that again? But Pat, let's talk about Tyjae Spears because Spears feels like another one of these guys where the backfield is a complete split right now. If Tony Pollard gets dealt, it becomes Spears' backfield. And there's still, time here for the trade deadline for that to possibly happen, where I think some teams might look at Tony Pollard and say that's a useful piece for us. Tennessee Titans right now also maybe in that evaluation period too, where you might as well continue to look forward here. And I think Spears is the more forward-looking guy than Pollard at this stage of their careers. So what's your spend on a guy like Spears considering where we are in the season?
Modest, Joe. I would say modest, and of course it depends on league size and what's available on waivers. But I think the leagues where Spears is still available are probably smaller, more shallow leagues. So there are probably a lot of running backs readily available, and you might not have to spend that much anyway. But yeah, we've been sort of monitoring the workload split in this backfield ever since Spears came back. And he played 4 more snaps than Tony Pollard in week 8. Titans lost in a blowout, so maybe the game script had something to do with it, or maybe not, because I'm not sure Spears really is the designated passing down back, because we saw Pollard in that role at the end of the Titans week 7 game, where he was kind of, Pollard was the guy in the 2-minute offense late. I think the bottom line with Spears is that he has more juice than Pollard. That's easy to see. He seems to be easing his way past Pollard in terms of usage. Mm-hmm. He adds value with his pass catching, but yet the overall value, I think, is pretty limited just because the Titans are so bad and score so few touchdowns.
Yeah, that is the problem. At the end of the day, the offensive ecosystem isn't great, but to Pat's point, it does feel like he is the better of the two potentially going forward. And I think that is worthy of note here. And it's not like he can't do everything. He can work catching balls out of the backfield too. So that's an important wrinkle in this whole thing, especially in those PPR formats, DBro. So Spears for me actually becomes really interesting because if there's an injury to Tony Pollard, once again, this is a guy, it's not a first and second down guy. This is a 3-down back potentially for the Tennessee Titans that they would have. And a guy that's going to come cheaper than Tyrone Tracy will.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think there's 2 guys to bring up in this same area code. I think Tyjae Spears, the case we're making for him, is the same case I can make for Isaiah Davis. Both of these teams are not great. Both these running backs are splitting time with the starter incumbent who could get traded. And Isaiah Davis had a very similar kind of, I mean, obviously they played the Bengals, so the stat line's a little bit juiced, but 12 touches and 107 total yards. But both of these guys, you're stashing them for not only if the backfield turns a little bit, but more about like Davis, if there is a trade, but both these guys, that's the out. If there's a trade for Tony Pollard, if there's a trade for Breece Hall, then both of these guys, even though the offenses are god-awful, even though they're not going to be in the red zone very often, they're both volume plays and possibly low-end RB2s, at worst high-end flex plays on a weekly basis. So both of these guys, you're talking about Spears, I was surprised he was below 50%. I was surprised Isaiah Davis is at 33%. Both of these guys should be over 50.
Well, the Davis one doesn't surprise me as much, but look, this is the time. This is the week to add them, both of them. So if you have to go up a couple more bucks, I would do that. I had to start Isaiah Davis in a league because just the way things happen. And look, I was very happy that it ended up working out for me. But Pat, Isaiah Davis, in your opinion, another guy too, Breece Hall, certainly, if that wasn't an audition to get traded from the Jets, I don't know what was. I mean, geez, Breece Hall looked terrific in that game. I'm sure a lot of teams, a lot of, general managers look at that and say, okay, wow, that was really something. Maybe Breece Hall can be a real difference maker for a stretch run for one of these playoff contending teams that's looking for some more running back help. But in that interim, is there enough room also for Davis to work? And this is supposed to be the identity of the Jets, isn't it? Run the football, run the football, run the football some more. Guess what? They ran the football even when they got behind, and it worked. So back to basics was good. Can Davis be a guy that has some appeal here without a Hall injury or a trade? Or is Davis just one of these guys you keep in glass, Pat?
I don't think he's going to have standalone value on the 1-7 Jets, Joe, and they're not going to play the Bengals every week, unfortunately. But,
shame. Because it was fun.
Right, yeah. Because Breece Hall had a pretty big game himself with 133 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. But Davis did look really sharp. 7 carries, 65 yards, 5 catches for 44 yards. I know DBro really liked Isaiah Davis as a prospect, and watching him play on Sunday, it was kind of easy to see why. So circle November 4 on the calendar. That's the trade deadline. That's early next week. But we might start to see some deals later this week. Wouldn't be shocking. And, maybe Breece Hall is one of the guys. Maybe Tony Pollard is one of the guys involved.
Yeah, get ahead of the game just in case any of those things do happen. All right, I want to talk about Tank Bigsby also getting ahead of things. Now, we mentioned the Eagles are on a bye. Saquon came up lame with a groin injury. So they said he could have gone back in, but from the look of his face when he got hurt, it did not look awesome. And Saquon was awesome in that game, no doubt about that. Do you want to add Tank Bigsby this week just to speculate, just in case? Because you could probably slip him through the cracks there for a couple bucks because he's not necessarily we're just going to be waiting on news and all that speculation over this time. Pat, if you have that kind of bench depth and you want to do that, is that a wise move or is that a waste of FAAB?
No, I think it's a wise move because he is potentially, Tank Bigsby, very valuable as a lottery ticket, because if anything happened to Saquon long term, even if this groin injury does turn out to be nothing and Saquon is fine for next week, any sort of absence for Saquon, and Bigsby steps right into a powerful offense with one of the best offensive lines in the league. So that's the appeal here. And I think if you are a Saquon Barkley investor, you've been waiting all year. You didn't know who the handcuff was because we saw A.J. Dillon and Will Shipley sort of filling in behind him as sort of like a tag team. But in week 8, like, Bigsby was clearly the top backup, 16 snaps behind Saquon. Shipley played 8 snaps, and Bigsby did look just fantastic. He looked like the tank Bigsby we saw in Jacksonville last year. So, 9 carries, 100 yards, 104 yards, actually.
104. Yeah. That's an average of 11 yards per carry. Now, again, it's against the Giants.
And he did look really good. But just realize Tank does not catch passes.
He doesn't, but, he can score touchdowns potentially. And 10% roster, DBro. Tank does feel like a guy that I think will... I got to be honest with you. I think certain sharp leagues people will add him this week. And the more casual leagues, I get the feeling that people won't. And they'll say, oh, the Eagles are on a bye anyway. I'm not even going to bother. And those are the kind of leagues, especially to Pat's illusion, where you stash them for a buck because groin injuries are tricky. And what if Saquon misses a game? What if it turns out it's actually more of an issue, potentially, or a re-aggravation, right? There's a lot of ifs there. So for a buck or two to sneak him through the waiver wire, I think it's not a terrible look at all. I think it's actually kind of a savvy move if you have the space to do it.
It is an extremely sharp move, and we're talking about an Eagles team that's 6-2 right now, coming out of the bye. If Saquon, say Saquon plays or say anything, I don't want Saquon to get hurt, but if the injury bug does bite and you have Tank on your roster, I'm just going to lay this out, boys. Weeks 12 through 17, this is the Eagles schedule. They get Dallas, the Bears, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Commanders, Buffalo. What team is in that schedule that you cannot run on, man? Like, tell me. That is an immaculate run out. So this is, again, it's the $1 scratch off that could pay dividends.
Let's get to another guy too who could potentially be an ad this week. Again, we don't know the extent of the injury of Quinshon Judkins yet. He had a shoulder issue. He was questionable to return yesterday in that game that got away from the Cleveland Browns there as the game went on. Dylan Sampson, a guy that does work in the passing game. We've seen that before. He's only 12% rostered, which is understandable. Judkins kind of took over this backfield. Is this another guy too, potentially, DBro, that you want to slip through the waiver wire? And, it's funny, for probably $2, you can get Bigsby and Sampson, right?
Yeah.
Both of them are on the waiver wire and both of them are on buys this week. So again, it's more, can you manage it with all the other pieces that you need to get a starting lineup out there with the buys? But if you can manage it, it seems like a smart bit of insurance to purchase.
You should be picking up both of these guys for the same reasons. And Sampson played 19 to 27 snaps after Judkins left with a shoulder injury. Coming off of the bye, if Judkins is out for any reason, guys, we just talked about the defense that, at least the defense that Chase Brown and Samaje Perine destroyed this weekend, he gets the Jets. So even if you only get 1 week of flex opportunity with Dylan Sampson, it's there, dude. But same reasons with Bigsby, are applicable to picking up Dylan Sampson. If Judkins misses time, Sampson's going to be the lead back.
Pat, your thoughts on Sampson here, and maybe you want to throw Jerome Ford out too, just in case people are having questions about him.
Yeah, well, after Judkins went down, Dylan Sampson played 19 of the Browns' last 27 offensive snaps, according to PFF. So it seems like he has kind of pushed his way past Jerome Ford. But just,
was that game script? Is that because they were behind?
Could have been, but I don't really see Ford as.
I think that's a fair question to ask. I'm sure people watching the show kind of was that only because of the fact that the score is what it was, or is that because of Sampson being the true number 2? I don't know if we know the answer to that, Pat.
We don't, but Ford would probably have a role too. But then again, the Browns are probably going to be in a lot of negative game scripts. So Sampson seems like he would be the preferred guy here. I just would be careful about how much you spend on this, because it seemed like some of the injury doctors on Twitter were suggesting it might be a sprained AC joint for Quinshon Judkins. And usually that's one of those things that you might be questionable with the following week. But since the Browns have a bye in week 9, it seems like if that's the injury, Judkins will probably be good to go in week 10.
It's a painful injury, though. I've had that injury. You get a cortisone shot basically in the top bone of your shoulder. If you put your hand here, that little bone that pops up, that's where they put it, right in the joint there. I felt like I could lift a car after. It was awesome. But I got to say, the injury, not so much. Definitely limitations there and weakness, too, for a little while, too. So we'll see what happens there. I want to talk about a guy to drop potentially, too. If you're still holding on to Hassan Haskins, it doesn't feel like you should, right? After last week in Vidal, I think that's bygones be bygones, right? We're good with him. We're dropping him, Pat? Okay, all right. So DBro and Pat are both dropping Haskins. All right, before we get to the wide receivers, I want to remind everybody the sponsor of our show is Hard Rock Bet, and it's Monday. Week 8 closes out with the Washington Commanders versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And listen to this streak from Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub. You can find live odds and bet this one right on the Hard Rock Bet app. And if you're not sure if you should start or sit Terry McLaurin, Fantasy Pros gave him a B grade in the consensus wide receiver ranks this week, but he's recorded 53 or more receiving yards in 7 straight October games. So there you go. He likes pumpkin season. And if you want, you can bet his over at 47.5 right now at Hard Rock Bet. And when you do, when you place that first bet of $5 and it hits, you get 150 in bonus bets plus your winnings. Plus, tonight on Hard Rock Bet, you can get Monday Night Parlay boost for the game. Love that. Boost your parlay so it pays extra winnings. Check out our Monday Night Football show, too, over on Betting Pros with myself and Scott Bogman, walking you through all the props and the game for that. And if you're listening to this later, don't worry. Just open up the Hard Rock Bet app. They've got specials every single day there. Download the Hard Rock Bet app today. Make your first deposit at Hard Rock Bet. All right, next up here, wide receivers. Troy Franklin had himself a day. And if there's one person that loves Troy Franklin, it's Derek Brown. So I can only imagine, DBro, you really enjoyed this Troy Franklin 2-touchdown performance. But the caveat is, it's against the awful, terrible, no good secondary of the Dallas Cowboys. So once again, Troy Franklin's been able to pop off. I know we were saying, hey, it could be Mims, it could be anybody. You know, it wasn't Mims. It was absolutely Troy Franklin in this game. Even Pat Bryant got a touchdown, his first of his career there, 2 for 40. So 6 for 89 for Troy Franklin, 2 touchdowns. He actually led the Denver Broncos in receiving. Cortland Sutton was second at 67. So Troy Franklin is a player available in 33% of leagues. Another one, I was kind of shocked with that matchup this week, all the injuries and the buys, that on Sleeper, that number wasn't closer to 50. 33% shocked me, DBro.
Dude, we tried to tell people last week, tried to tell people to pick him up and to flex him and stuff. And again, still the roster percentage is sitting where it's at, man. And I want to be very clear, like, I don't want to say you've missed the boat, but the next 3 matchups for Franklin, he gets the Texans, the Raiders. Okay, that's flex worthy. And then he gets the Chiefs. 2 of those 3 matchups, I'm not interested in attacking those secondaries. So if you didn't get Franklin already, don't go like opening up the piggy bank to chase it now. Like, put out like a 5% bid, 6%. That's fine. I don't want to chase this monster game because we told you last week this was the opportunity to flex him. If you missed it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're right. This was the spot here. Certainly going forward.
It was.
So Pat, what do you think about Troy Franklin these next 3 weeks? So you got at Houston, Vegas, KC, then the bye week coming up for Troy Franklin. This is the first game, or should I say tied for his highest here. He had 89 receiving yards in week 2 against Indianapolis. But since then, 8, 55, 35, 19, 19, and then again, the big 89 spot again. He does have 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. So that, I guess, is a nice trend. And Bo Nix certainly, I think there was something about that fourth quarter really spurred some confidence. And if the Cowboys don't give you confidence throwing the football, I don't know what does. So can Bo Nix build on this along with Troy Franklin, or did we miss the spot here with him this past week?
Might have missed the spot. I still think he's borderline playable in any given week, but Troy Franklin doesn't play full snaps is the issue. Like, he's usually around a 60% snap share. And so you get Marvin Mims mixed in, Pat Bryant mixed in. Some weeks Evan Ingram is a little busier than other weeks. And some weeks Cortland Sutton gets a lot more volume than anyone else. So you can play him. It's at least nice that Bo Nix seems to be on an upswing after kind of struggling early in the season. So that might give you a little more confidence in Troy Franklin. But I do think I'm probably going to have him ranked as a wide receiver 4 the next few weeks, I would assume.
Yeah.
And also right. to shout out here, Troy Franklin, 3rd. It's a Pat's point about the touchdowns and stuff, and Nick's 3rd in the entire NFL in red zone targets right now. Troy Franklin.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, wow.
3rd. That's behind only Devontae Adams and Trey McBride, baby.
Although Rashee Rice is going to pass him on Monday night, probably.
Yeah, Rashee will. He will. No doubt.
That's certainly in the range of outcomes. All right, let's talk about the Houston Texans wide receivers. So no Nico Collins this past week. Christian Kirk out too. So some of the kids had to step up here. Jayden Higgins rostered in 22% of leagues. Jaylen Noel after this past week rostered in just 18% of leagues. But Xavier Hutchinson, 8% of leagues. He was the guy actually leading the charge in this game. So Hutchinson, 5 catches for 69 and a touchdown. Strong day from him. Jaylen Noel, who I wanted to add desperately to the waiver wire list last week, and I was told by these two guys, it's not going to be enough. I was like, not going to be enough. Jaylen Noel, come on. He had to get guys on the field enough. Well, guess what? He got you double-digit PPR points, and that's all I wanted this week. That's all a lot of us needed this week with so many injuries. 5 for 63. So, okay, give me my 10 points. Let me get out of here. And then there was Jayden Higgins, who had 4 for 34, but he had that touchdown as well. So let's talk about these additions here to the group. Pat Fitzmaurice, of these three, who has the most value potentially going forward?
That's a good question, Joe. I don't know if any of them do. It's the...
Let me repaint the picture then.
Okay.
You. So Nico Collins, we know the injury. We know we all theorize that Jayden Higgins fits the Nico Collins. That was the whole thing in draft season, right? People use that comp a million times.
He's like another
Nico Collins. It
hated
is,
the narrative,
but it's out there. The slot work, right? Isn't that the fantasy productivity that we always say that's where PPR points are born? So if this Texans offense is going to, swing back to where Tank Dell used to be a guy that was very exciting for us in fantasy, why can't Jaylen Noel be that guy potentially rest of season?
Because the Texans insist on playing Braxton Berrios too. And like DBro's rant is, we already got the DBro rant about this last week, and I know DBro wants to go. And who's the other guy, DBro, who they were giving snaps at wide receiver yesterday, who I actually had to look up?
Jared Wayne. I was yesterday years old
Wayne
to find out who
2 catches for
Jared
20.
Wayne was.
So here's the thing, Joe. Like Nico Collins, probably back in week 9 after concussion, and I don't know if any other Texans receiver is going to be playable. Like I don't want to get sucked into the Houston Texans complimentary receiver vortex after CJ Stroud's first 300-yard game of the season.
Well, the Braxton Berrios thing is a great counterpoint. It's super annoying. I'm not going to lie. But I think we all know who Braxton Berrios is at this point in his career. And if Jaylen Noel continues to show you, I mean, this is back-to-back games now where Noel is getting the job done. At some point, when we get into double-digit weeks, week 11, 12, all this stuff, maybe there is something there for Noel. I will die on this hill, and I think I might.
Oh, you should, Joe. Again. I mean, like I wish there were people on the Texans coaching staff willing to die on that hill. Jaylen Noel is like, he can fly. The dude had a 41.5-inch vertical jump at the combine. Like, he's an athletic freak. Just give him the slot job, man.
Well, that's why again, when they were at their best, DBro, it was that whole we got Nico on the outside and we got letting him do his thing. And then we had Tank Dell doing his thing. Well, Tank Dell can't do his thing right now, right? So Jaylen Noel looks to be like that kind of player, at least in theory, once again. And then it looks a little bit like in practice, but it's a small sample size. All I'm saying is there's definitely room for that sample size to grow. So I still want to add Jaylen Noel this week. I know why nobody else does. And maybe this was the week yet again, and we missed the week for some of us. I didn't. I had to start him in a couple leagues and stream him. What are your thoughts on this Texans wide receiver group, especially since Pat pointed out, hey, it doesn't matter. Nico most likely coming back next week.
It's a total frapping mess. Like I added Jayden Higgins and Jaylen Noel are stashes, and that's where they should be. Like, I do not understand why Houston is doing what they're doing, why DeMeco Ryans and Nick Caley are burying these rookies, but it's happening. Like, Jayden Higgins, he played the most snaps out of any of their wide receivers last week. Okay, we got to go down the page. Second in wide receiver snaps, third wide receiver snaps. Oh, look at that. Jaylen Noel, fourth in wide receiver snaps, and Braxton Berrios missed part of the game with an injury and came back for that to even happen. I don't know why Houston is doing this. I think it's asinine. I think it's ridiculous. CJ Stroud goes out, and he has arguably, watching that game yesterday, his best game of the season, and you see, oh, hey, guess what? We let the kids play, and they look awesome.
Yeah.
Holy crap, and Stroud looks totally better.
The 49ers, and I know the 49ers don't have Bosa, and they don't have Fred Warner, and I know it's not the same defense.
They don't want to let him play.
It's still a good unit. Like, it's still a good, well-coached team. Robert Saleh is a really good defensive coach. It was. I agree. It was very eye-opening, and I hope that they learn from it. That's all.
I hope so, but to Pat's point and for everything, like the fact that Jared freaking Wayne got more snaps than Jaylen Noel is it's criminal. Now, betting on talent, yes, you should be stashing Jayden Higgins and Jaylen Noel. Should Jaylen Noel be a full-time player? Yes. Should he be number 2, obviously, fighting with Jayden Higgins for targets behind Nico Collins? Yes. Unfortunately, because none of us are coaches in the Houston room, is that going to happen in the next 2 to 3 weeks? Who knows? But yes, Jaylen Noel keeps producing every time they give him snaps and opportunities. If you've been here since draft season, you know.
All right, I want to talk about Chimere Dike of the Tennessee Titans because obviously it's looking like a lost season for Calvin Ridley. We can talk about him in a second too. But Chimere Dike, 7 receptions for 93. I know we all like Alec Manor, but Dike really last couple weeks has shown a lot here. It's tough because the offensive ecosystem we talked about earlier, the Titans, isn't great, Derek. But is Dike a guy here that in PPR leagues, at least, that you can stream as a wide receiver 3 as a flex, going forward here? Is there enough here for him potentially?
I don't know if going forward, I think he's going to be one of those guys that depends on the matchup and stuff. But this week, I think the matchup is there. And his role in this passing offense is growing. Like in week 7, he had a 66% route share. That bumped up to a 90% route share and a 21% target share in this last game. And the big thing for this week, yeah, the Chargers have been a good pass defense overall, but their splits between perimeter and slot receivers are massive. Like, to perimeter receivers, they're giving up the second fewest PPR points per target. To slot receivers, that number is 10th most. So, yeah, Dike is definitely worth the flex, especially in PPR formats this week.
Pat, the last 2 weeks, he's caught 11 of 12 targets for 163 yards and a touchdown. It seems like you could stream him against the Chargers next week.
Yeah, and I sort of questioned DBro when he wanted to put Dike in the waiver article this week, but not Alec Manor. I thought that was kind of a dubious call because I do think Manor is the better rookie receiver, better prospect. But I think DBro is right that Manor is pretty much unplayable the next couple of weeks because of matchups. And if you can't play him when the bye weeks are crushing us, why roster Alec Manor? Dike, on the other hand, might be playable in these more slot-friendly matchups. And he has gotten a nice usage bump with Tyler Lockett released. Dike played 56.6% of the Titans' offensive snaps in week 7. That was a season high, and then he had 4 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. But in week 8, he played 88.7% of the snaps, ran almost as many routes as Manor, and had 8 targets that he turned into 7 catches for 93 yards. So, yeah, Dike might be a thing. He's really athletic. He played for my Wisconsin Badgers for a while before transferring to Florida and finishing his college career there. I thought he was going to maybe be just a special teamer. Like, he's really good in that facet of the game, but like he might have some value as a wide receiver too.
All right, and usually we put this show together late Sunday night, and then sometimes I wake up Monday morning and there's more names in the sheet. And one of those names that somebody put in, I don't know who it was this week, was Alec Pierce. So, will the person who put in Alec Pierce please raise their hand? I want to hear this rant. All right, Derek Brown. So Alec Pierce last week here against the Tennessee Titans, 2 catches for 69 yards. So why do you want to add potentially Alec Pierce this week?
Because this could be the next upcoming Troy Franklin of flex opportunities. You're buying into a top 5 scoring offense, and really it's the coverage matchups, Joe. Alec Pierce does not get targets versus too high. That does not happen. But he is the downfield threat in the Colts offense, and he is their go-to weapon versus single high coverage. And the reason I want to bring him up this week, and for honestly the next 2 weeks, he is flex worthy. Because the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Atlanta Falcons are first and second in the NFL, running single high on 62 and 73% of their coverages. And just to lay this out for everybody, Alec Pierce versus single high coverage, 29.2% target share, 4.1 yards per route run, and this man gets a 32% first read share. So Alec Pierce, absolutely flex worthy over the next 2 weeks.
Pat, do you want to co-sign on that?
I do. I've actually been trying to get DBro to put Pierce into the waiver article.
So it's a Sunday conversation every week, baby.
It is, but DBro, I think with both Dike and Alec Pierce is really dialed into what the coverage matchups are going to be and which coverage matchups play to these receiver strengths.
Okay, there you go. Alec Pierce, another one. What about dropping guys too? Calvin Ridley. Pat, can we drop Calvin Ridley?
Sayonara, Calvin. Sorry, man. A guy Sucks. I really liked preseason, and boy, has that been a terrible call.
Yeah, I wonder if he's one of the latest of the veteran wide receivers from, remember last year where all the veteran wide receivers got dealt? I wonder if somebody's going to come knocking for him if he's healthy enough. We'll see. Hey, look, Amari Cooper got traded last year. A lot of guys got traded last year. Fair. DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, if Calvin Ridley doesn't fit in that bucket right now, I don't know who does. Like, he definitely feels like that bucket of guys. What about Jerry Jeudy, Pat? Would you drop him? I mean, talk about a wasted season for him.
Yeah, boy, if you just based on the number of routes run, the number of targets, the air yards he's getting, you would think he would be a top 20 receiver. And no touchdowns. I think he has like 22 catches for 257 yards or something like that. It's been really bad. I think you can drop him.
You don't think Shador could save him, right? I'm just
that's the thing. It's just no with only rookie quarterbacks. I just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel for Jeudy.
All right. Do you see? I mean, Kendrick Bourne, DBro. That's another guy I think you can drop. Right. I mean, it was fun for a couple weeks, but no fun for the 49ers this past week.
No, I think it was fun for a few weeks, but I think Juwan Jennings is reasserting himself in this passing attack, and Ricky Pearsall is going to be back, so I think Bourne's just going to be...
Kittle's back.
Kittle's return is what crushed Bourne. As soon as Kittle came back, Bourne disappeared.
Yeah, Kittle was the one for me too. So, all right, let's talk about the streamers for the week here. I know last week one of the streaming tight ends was Mason Taylor, who actually did play really well, had a touchdown, his first of the year, but it wasn't thrown by Justin Fields. No, it was thrown by Breece Hall. Good times.
Another running back.
Good times. All right, so let's start with you here, Pat. Give me your streaming quarterback for week 9.
All right, not a great week for streaming quarterbacks, and this guy would be a runner-up to the guy DBro is about to give you. But Trevor Lawrence, he gets a decent week 9 matchup against the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders haven't been giving up that many fantasy points to quarterbacks, mainly because teams tend to have big leads against the Raiders and don't throw that much, but not a good pass defense. They have like the 13th highest opponent passer rating, and maybe Liam Cohen has been cooking up some good stuff during the Jaguars bye week.
Okay, next up here for streaming QB, Derek Brown. What do you have?
Well, I'll own this and say I got to the sheet before Patty did because I knew, we were, and honestly, this is the streamer of the week for quarterback. It's Sammy Darnold.
In all fairness, you guys, it's the same sheet every week. If you really felt I mean, it's nothing to stop either of you at 4:00 in the afternoon, but let me go type somebody's name in there. You could.
That's fair.
Just say.
Fair.
I was like waiting for me to open up this, like some magical thing where I'm opening up the sheet. It's there. It's the same sheet we work in every week. Anyway. Because Welsh and Bogman complain about that stuff all the time. I was like, I don't understand. It's the same sheets. What are we doing?
I'm just owning it that I got to it first, and I know. I know Fitzy and I are both hand-holding on Sam Darnold as really the QB streamer du jour. Washington's given up the 6th most schedule-adjusted fantasy points per game to quarterbacks.
All right. So Sam Darnold, Trevor Lawrence, that's what we want this week. All right. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's go to tight end, DBro. Who do you like this week?
Colston Loveland, man. I know it wasn't a massive week, but he was the full-time starter for the Bears last week. I think Cole Kmet, who did not practice at all last week, has a back injury. I think he's out again this week. And if that's the case, baby, Cincinnati Bengals provide. He gets the Bengals this week. The best matchup for tight ends. Colston Loveland getting into the end zone this week. Let's go.
All right. Fitzy, give me a streaming tight end for week 9.
I don't know how week 8 was such a good week for streaming tight ends, and week 9 is just such a disaster. I guess, how about AJ Barner? Like AJ Barner's had
Barner.
3 touchdowns in his last 4 games, 5 red zone targets this season, and he's gone over 50 yards in 2 of his last 4 games.
All right. Fitzy, give me a defense to stream this week.
Oh, how about the Rams at home against the Saints? The Rams defense has scored 28 fantasy points over its last 2 games. The Rams went into their week 8 bye ranked 2nd in the league in sacks with 26, led by edge rusher Byron Young has 9 already. And the Rams might be facing a rookie quarterback making his first NFL start. The Saints benched Spencer Rattler last week, so the Rams might get to pick on Tyler Shough.
I didn't get that. I mean, Rattler's not perfect, but like I didn't get that.
It was weird.
You're
wasn't
trying to
that
understand what the Saints are doing. Don't do that. You're just going to give yourself headaches. Don't try to do that. That's going to hurt your head.
I didn't understand it.
No, don't try to understand the Saints. You can't.
And I'm not trying to defend him like he's some great quarterback, but like Spencer Rattler's been okay this year.
Yeah, serviceable.
Something tells me if they had played him the 4 quarters of that game, that the score would not have been quite as bad as it was. Like I just didn't get that. So Tyler Shuck, everybody, yay! All right, here we go. DBro, give me streaming defense this week.
I'm realizing right now I should have taken AJ Barner as the tight end just for the bit, so I could go full Seattle on streamers right now.
I mean, it's kind of.
I should have done it. I should have done it for the bit.
This week,
but I really should have done it. But dude, they're all fantastic streaming options. Seattle's under 50% rostered. If they're out there, pick them up. I mean, the things that we want that score fantasy points, dude, they're 4th in pressure rate. So sacks, yes. I know they get the Commanders. We'll see if Jayden Daniels is back. Probably not. And they're 4th in interceptions. So all the things that we care about, score fantasy points, when you stream a defense, Seattle does well.
Do I have to ask who your kicker is, or is it just Jason Myers?
It's just Jason Myers.
Okay.
Yes. And again, Jason Myers, at least 10 fantasy points in 4 of 6 games. So yes, Seattle.
Fitz, do you want to trade Barner for Loveland so he could just have the clean sweep here?
It's a deal.
For the bit. Cool. Yes, all right.
Just for the bit.
For the bit. I'm going full Seattle.
Streaming the Seattle Seahawks.
I've been told, I don't know if you're supposed to go full Seattle, but I'm going full Seattle.
I don't see why not. Seattle's pretty good. They're a good football team. Patty, how about a kicker for this week?
Tyler Loop of the Ravens. He's missed just 1 field goal this season, and the Ravens should get Lamar Jackson back, hopefully, from his hamstring injury.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, exactly. So that should reinvigorate the offense. And the nice thing about having a Ravens kicker, like John Harbaugh does not mind settling for 3 points. Some like Sean McVay would rather cut off one of his own toes than take a field goal inside the 30-yard line. But like John Harbaugh, just give him the 3 points.
Well done, Patty. Well done. That was good. All right. Don't miss out on using Waiver Central to help get you all the difference makers you're going to need for this week and the rest of the season. Go to fantasypros.com/myplaybook or just download the Fantasy Pros app so you can instantly view suggestions on who you should be adding, who you should be dropping. Use Waiver Central, one of the many tools here at Fantasy Pros to help you win a fantasy championship, because that's what it's all about. So don't be a tool. Use the tools. Let's go through the top 5 waiver ads of the week. DBro, what do you have here? Top 5 for week 9.
Tyrone Tracy, obvious number 1, but then, like I alluded at the top of the show, it's stuffing and cuffing season, baby. So Isaiah Davis is number 2, Tyjae Spears 3, Colston Loveland, again, the streamer of the week for tight end, number 4, and Alec Pierce, get ahead of the curve, baby, number 5.
All right, Fitzy, your top 5 for week 9.
Tyrone Tracy, number 1. Kayshon Boutte is number 2. Joe, I know it's getting cold in the Northeast, so why not warm your hands by the flames coming from Drake May right now?
Yeah, baby, let's go.
Dude, tie yourself to Drake May, because he has just been unbelievable. Number 3, I'm going to put Sam Darnold, just because he is so far head and shoulders ahead of all the other widely available quarterbacks and waivers. I think it's worth grabbing him and prioritizing him if you need QB help. Tyler Algier, number 4. Invaluable as a handcuff and maybe some standalone value too. And then Tyjae Spears, number 5.
Some good play designs yesterday too. I love that rub play they ran down by the end zone with Diggs on that touchdown. That was a great play design. Really like that one. And look, he also got sacked 5 times by Myles Garrett and he didn't fold up like a tent. Lesser men and greater quarterbacks have folded under that sort of pressure from Myles Garrett. I mean, it was consistent. It was all day. Well, maybe not all day, but most of the day. But impressive performance, no doubt, by him. Kayshon Boutte, what's his roster percentage right now, too? I'm just curious. Like,
it's like 30% on Yahoo leagues.
It's crazy, man.
I know he's above 50 on Sleeper, but honestly, it's still not that high. Like, it's still not high enough on Sleeper. I think he's in the 50s.
All right, so if Boutte's still around, go pick up the Boutte. Don't let the Boutte just sit out there by itself. And of course, don't forget about our live stream too. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Fantasy Pros channel. Derek Brown and I are going to take your questions, who to add, who to drop, recap what happens in Monday night too, because sometimes Monday night weird things happen and there's more players to talk about. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a trade by then too. And of course, don't forget to drop your comments here, subscribe to the channel, like this video so you could be the winner of our latest giveaway, the toilet seat. That's right, for the real loser in your league. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For DBro and Pat, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.